I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to and what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan, your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour, take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder, work until you're prouder. And f*** all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought.
I can tell you that 7 years after Freddie Gray, that was 2015, spring, April, May. This is 2022. Communities like Sandtown, all we saw then and now in terms of investment was a renovated Western District Police Station and a new funeral home. That's what West Baltimore got. A new police station and a new funeral home. What kind of optics are they? Was Freddie Gray any different than 1968 Baltimore riots? Dr. King's passing, killing, murder? This is the same?
No, it wasn't. I mean, I think, well, first of all, people who are being violent and burning, that's, you know, all that's the same. But the point is what was the cause and what were they attempting to register?
I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns.
I love you.
They deserve it now. It's
got next.
It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns.
First name's Doni, last name's Glover, in it to win it for the long haul, baby. This has been a long week. Oh my goodness. Thank God it's Friday. Lord have mercy. I hope y'all are doing well out there. We have a hot show for you today. Oh, they are talking smack today. All right, let's get on straight to the get down. Our first guest up is all the way from Baltimore County. His name is Ian. Last name's Miller. Good morning, Ian. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. It's great to be here.
Good, good. Ian, what do you do?
Hi. Well, I'm the elected Central Committee member from District 44B. I'm a youth organizer in Baltimore County trying to get more young people to participate in the political process. And I'm also a student at University of Maryland College Park.
What do you study there?
I'm currently switching my major to American Studies from government and politics.
Okay. How did you get interested in that particular major?
Well, I mean, like the government and politics program is pretty big, you know, and I think like that field of study is more about like institutions of wealth and like power and violence rather than like how people are like interacting with those systems. And like in American Studies, they talk a lot about like the quotidian and just like how people interact.
Slow down, Ian. This is a little early in the morning. You said clotillion?
Quotidian.
Quotidian. What is quotidian?
So that's like the how people go about their everyday life and like interact with culture and interact with politics, and how different things are influencing us in our everyday lives to either like uphold structures of power or challenge them.
Is there a particular school of thought or particular philosopher associated with it?
Well, I mean, like American Studies is kind of like the study of racial capitalism and essentially studying
racial capitalism. You're throwing these big terms. What is, I know what capitalism is. I know what race is. Racial capitalism. What is that, Ian?
Well, racial capitalism is the the system that our society operates under, that there's like inherently a power structure that, you know, funnels wealth and power to white people at the end of the day. And we need
We
to
call that institutional racism.
that is institutional racism, and it's a system of structural violence against marginalized communities.
No, it's against black people.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course, yes.
These sound like fancy terms for old things, Ian.
I mean, I guess that's higher ed, right?
Like what do they call it? Critical race theory. Is that really new? I mean, some people want to ignore history and some people don't. But I know a little bit about history, and you can read about it in my book, I Am Black Wall Street. Two heroes in there, a black Indian, Chief John Horse, who comes out of Florida, and the other one, a white guy named Captain John Brown. You ever heard of Captain John Brown?
I have not.
American Studies has failed you, Ian. Go get your money back and come to my school. We'll teach you for free. Captain John Brown, his efforts kicked off the Civil War. John Brown went out there to Kansas. There was a time when Kansas was seeking to be a part of the Union. But back then, you had to choose whether you're going to be a free state or a slave state. And a lot of people that moved to Kansas wanted it to be a free state. That's why they call them the Jayhawkers. This is just after the Civil War, late 1800s. But Kansas became, because of John Brown's efforts, a lot of black people from the Deep South moved into Kansas. And those people then moved down into Oklahoma. So that's how we got the Tulsa's Black Wall Street. Speaking of violence, there was nothing more violent than Tulsa's Greenwood district that was burned to the ground, bombed from the air. 101 years ago last year. But you didn't come here to talk about history. You came to talk about somebody in Baltimore County. What's happening in Baltimore County? Did somebody tick you off, Ian?
Well, there's a lot happening in Baltimore County, and I think there's some things being thrown around right now that are not accurate. And I just really wanted to come on, kind of set the record straight, and tell, you know, a little bit about what I'm about and kind of what I stand for.
What was said that was wrong?
So what was said that was wrong? Well, there's a lot that was said that was wrong. So firstly, you know, Senator Charles Sydnor has been kind of under attack for putting me on his ballot versus George White. And, you know, when it comes down to it, there are a couple things that need to be set straight. Like, firstly, George White and Barry Chapman were on Charles Sydnor's opposition's ballot before he put his ballot out. So it's not accurate to say that, you know, Charles Sydnor like did something that he wasn't in his interest to do. Like, if they chose to side with his opposition, why would he also put them on their ballot? Like, that's not accurate. You know, another thing that's not accurate is that it's being thrown out.
Specifically, what's Danny Blount put that statement out on this show.
Right.
And so let me just say to you, Ian, if ever someone says something wrong and I don't catch it and it's brought to my attention, this is going to be the first thing I do, is give you a chance. I don't know everything, and I do apologize for not knowing where to check him. But thank you for coming on and setting the record straight. And to answer your question, you are absolutely correct. If I support you, then I support you. But if I'm over there supporting someone else, I cannot in my right mind expect you to support me. That's stupid.
Right. I mean,
it's not even a conversation. You were over there with my opposition. You're not on my team. And in politics, loyalty, trust and loyalty, it's everything. I shared this story with you, Ian. I've shared it many times. When Martin O'Malley would run for office, invariably, now I could be wrong. Martin O'Malley could come on here and tell me I'm dead wrong. But from my knowledge, the first person he would call is who? his brother. He's not going to do any campaign without his brother at his side, period, end of story. And whether that's true today or not, the point is, when you run, you got to have people on closest to you who you trust. And if you're over there dilly-dallying with the opposition, that's a major violation.
And I think it's about shared vision and like what Charles Sidner sees in the Central Committee, and we have that shared vision. And I think that's kind of counter to Danny Blount and the crowd around him. You know, like one of the things that he said, he said it was like a disgrace of the election where the voters of District 44B came out and chose to vote for me. He said that this is how communities are destroyed. And then on the other side of his mouth wants to talk about democratic unity when he's talking about challenging, that we need to find a primary challenger for Charles Sidner, who's the best senator Baltimore County has to offer.
Charles is very smart. Although he's reserved. Now, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, Ian, but he's certified Baltimore City. We know his pedigree. I wasn't raised in Baltimore County per se, but we all know Baltimore City's a little rough spot. But he came through here and he's now in Baltimore County, and his daddy from Baltimore City. And interestingly, Danny's not even from Baltimore. So he comes and he's certainly opinionated. But come on, finish setting the record straight.
Well, I mean,
it's because you're white. That's what you're getting. That's what you're politely trying to say.
I don't want to go that far. I really want to say that, Charles Sidner picked me on my ballot, on his ballot, because I'm going to go into the Central Committee and I'm going to disrupt things. Like, I'm going to challenge the existing status quo that we see as dysfunctional, that we see as really not working. When we look at what's going on in Baltimore County, we have like 20 to 25% of voters of registered Democrats participating in primaries in our highest turnout areas. Like, that is a failure. Like we need to be making sure people are participating in the democratic process.
How do we do that? Because the people you're talking about are in my family, and no, I don't think they are as politically astute as they should be, as they could be. Or some of us, because we don't know, we may know the names of Gucci or the latest brand, but we don't even know. Some of us don't even know who our elected officials are. There are people watching the show who have no freaking clue what the State Central Committee does, right, Ian, at all.
And then, that's because people aren't, our politicians, for the most part, are not going out and hitting doors and listening to people. That's what we need to do. We need to listen to people.
And incumbents don't want to work hard.
Yep.
Incumbents are going for this group of people who have been voting forever. A lot of times when we're young, we think, oh, we want to get more people involved. That sounds nice, but they are untested weapons. You want to go into war with what you know. Mm-hmm. And so nobody wants to work harder to educate. And that's why I do media, because I want people to be informed. Again, we don't even know what State Central Committee does. I happen to know, I've known since 98 when they threw me in there to say, hey, you run for this slot. But people don't even know, what does State Central, what is their number one job?
Our number one job is to do the work of the Democratic Party. It's our job to engage with Democrats. It's our job to build the party and do the hard work that's going to get people to come out and vote.
Let me ask it a different way. What is the one instance where the State Central Committee gets to go into action?
Are you referring to the appointment process? So that's just a really important point. The Central Committee, if any of our elected officials retire or they are no longer in capacity to serve,
if they get locked up, if they die, if they're too sick to serve, they have to be replaced.
They have to be replaced. And it's not up to the community. It's up to the central committee members. So I'm in District 44B.
Five of y'all?
Well, in my district, it would be 4 of us. I'd be 25% of the vote.
The state central, you have 4 state central members?
In District 44B, yes. 2 men and 2 women. And then in 44A, there's 2.
What's the average?
Well, it's like 6 for like a senatorial district.
So it can be anywhere from 4 to 6 people on the state central committee. And historically, the state senator of that particular district controls the majority of the votes. That's how the game is played. Right. Long before you and Senator Sidnor got into the game, that's the game. You control the state central committee just in case somebody gets locked up, dies, gets sick, and your job is to name their replacement. So it's, some people view it as a bully tactic, and you pass legislation out there that if I'm a state senator, I can't also be on the state central committee. You guys found that to be a tad greedy. I just say that's how the game is played. But okay, so
I would go as far to say the appointment process needs to be abolished. It needs to be up to the community. Like, we should have special elections. And I don't think Senator Sidner and I actually agree on that. But Sidner put me on his ballot, and like with the understanding that I was going to operate independently, and that I'm going to do what I think is in the interest of our community. Not in the interest of the political machine. So, and I think that's one of the things that, the folks that have been on Central Committee for a long time are really intimidated by young people. They're intimidated by me. They were intimidated by Ruben Amaya. They were intimidated by Samay Kendra, because
how is Ruben?
Ruben is doing good. Ruben's actually interning at the public defender's office.
What place did he come in?
He came in 4th place. We lost by 900 votes. He came close. He came very close. And some important context, Ruben was outspent by the Unity slate 18-1. They spent over $640,000 collectively. Ruben spent around $36,000. So there's a story there. Like, how could they spend 18 times the amount of money and he would get that close?
Oh, I'm going to tell you. What's the first object of power, Ian?
To maintain power.
God daggone Skippy. That's the game. Understand the game. Don't hate the game. Understand the game.
Well, I think young people are changing the game. And that would be my point.
Check this out, young person. You're not going to be the young person all the time. You ever watch boxing?
Not as much.
So I'm going to give you a quick scenario. It's a younger boxer and the older boxer. The younger boxer's coming out there wailing. The older boxer's going to lay back and pick his shots or her shots, because the older boxer knows that they are not going to be able to go the distance with all of this young energy. You got to wear them down. You got to move out the way. But one day you're going to be the older person, and then when the younger person gets the wailing, what does the weaker boxer do? They want to grab them. So these rules are a way of the older holding on to you so you don't keep hitting them.
You're
going to be that older person one day, Ian.
Oh, I agree. And and it's important.
Are you going to be intimidated by the next Ian?
No, the next generation of young people are important, and we need to embrace them. And I'll give you a different sports analogy and kind of my take. Like, do you watch college basketball?
I have historically, not much lately.
So in March Madness, sometimes these teams that are like 11th or 13th seeds, like Middle Tennessee State, Central, whatever, nobody's ever heard of the school. They come in and they upset big name schools that have big name prospects, and that's because they play a different style of basketball that they have not seen. And so that's what happened in the District 10 race. Was that, Ruben was so financially outgunned, but we grinded. We grinded at the doors. We had over 12,000 doors. And we were out there having conversations with people about real issues. And Ruben's like, there's a reason that, Ruben resonated with the electorate.
Well, part of it now, he had a natural advantage. He was the first one listed. So if you're the first one listed and you've made a lot of noise, you have a natural advantage. That one could argue that. Plus, Ruben's smart. Ruben studied the game. And so maybe next time he'll just need more money. And then here's the other thing. You got to have backing. You gotta have sponsorship. You gotta have money.
I was Ruben's campaign manager, actually. I was Ruben's campaign manager. And I think like one of the reasons I really saw that like Ruben resonated with people was it was authenticity. It was like he was talking about real issues that voters cared about. Like people who live in the Liberty Road corridor have seen grocery stores disappear in the past 10 years.
Four of them. Four?
I think it is 4. Yeah, and like people want access to fresh food. They want to stay healthy. People are seeing our schools are overcrowded.
Whose fault is that?
Well, I mean, like that's a really complex question. And like
yes,
I don't really want to like pretend I know the solution, because I don't. Like I can recognize the problem, and what we need to do is, bring everybody to the table and solve that problem and be very deliberate. We shouldn't pretend that we have all the answers, but we need to build coalitions that are kind of going to address.
You had a giant out there. You had a food line. You had a Shoppers. May have 2 giants on Liberty Road, but there were 4 supermarkets that were gone. Now, what you have left out there is the super Walmart. The Walmart out there, is that a super Walmart? The Walmart, people go out there for groceries. But part of it, too, is institutional racism. There's some people that believe the giant should be, the Gucci giant on Ricestown Road is better than the giant on Liberty Road. Even black people. There were black people who called it the Gucci giant. Why can't Liberty Road have a Gucci giant?
And then you go down to Catonsville, you go across Route 40. There are grocery stores for days. I mean, it is just like some communities in Baltimore County, white communities have access to these things, and black communities do not. And it's what Ruben was talking about. Another issue that was really that a lot of people were talking about was like the surge in youth unemployment and surge in like crime that our young people were committing. And people were saying, well, okay, well, like all our rec centers are closing. Like what opportunity and what resources are we investing into young people to provide a separate path? Ruben was talking about that.
But there were black people out Liberty Road said they didn't want any damn basketball courts near their house. They wanted them torn down.
Right.
These were African-American voters who said they wanted the basketball courts torn down. They were tired of young people congregating. I totally agree. We must have recreation opportunity. I grew up in the rec. The rec helped save my life and many people I grew up with, but there's not the same respect for a recreation center anymore. I don't get it. Honestly, I don't get it. Now, I got to ask you this, Ian. Do you have a favorite pair of jeans?
I don't. I think I own one pair of jeans, but I don't wear them too much.
What is one of your favorite items? Is it a jacket, a hat?
Like I've got some sweatshirts I like.
A sweatshirt. Nothing can replace your favorite sweatshirt. Well, that's how people feel about politicians. They've been wearing this sweatshirt for 5 election cycles. The same sweatshirt. It's got holes in it and everything. Don't mess with my favorite sweatshirt. It's called brand loyalty. People are loyal to their brand, and black people as much as anybody when it comes to elections. And so you may not get it the first time out, but I'm a big fan of John Elway's. He went for the Super Bowl 2-3 times. but he had to keep pushing, and he finally won it. And I always reflect on that word about perseverance. You might not get it the first time. You might not get it the second. People are wondering right now here in Baltimore City if Sheila Dixon is going to run. Just her name alone makes certain people shake in their boots. Even though she lost twice, but they know she can run this city. It's going to be interesting.
On that note, can I circle back to this Danny Blount debacle? Because like I think, you know, like Danny wants to pretend that, like, you know, he's not political and, you know, he's about unity while he's like throwing shade at like half the Democratic Party right now. But the reality is he's in his feelings because he wanted to be on the unity slate. He wanted to be delegate. And nobody wants him in Minneapolis. Nobody wants him in Minneapolis. I can prove that. Let me walk you through the evidence. So when Rubin filed for office to run for District 10 delegate, he received a phone call from Danny Blount where, you know, Danny grilled him out for not asking him for permission to run and said, well, what if I wanted to run? And I think, like, in, you know, Danny's last two appearances on your show, something else that you'll notice is, you know, he's just got all this beef with Dolores Kelly, you know, Senator Dolores Kelly. He's correct. He's correct that Senator Dolores Kelly wielded the influence to get Jennifer White on the unity slate. And I think he wanted to be that second seat. And the reality is Jennifer White is much more qualified, and she's going to be fantastic in Annapolis. And yeah, I mean,
let me say this about Senator Kelly. She was my professor, and I don't want to eat up your time. We got about 3 minutes left for this segment. But Senator Kelly was the boss. She still is the boss. And Jennifer White got more votes than
she dominated. She almost got as many votes as the speaker in one precinct.
Adrian Jones.
Yeah. Which
speaks to Senator Kelly's political prowess. So with a couple of minutes, let you get your final thoughts out. But go ahead, take your time. I'll give you the.
Yeah, I mean, I think like we need to embrace young people in the Democratic Party, because one of the things that we're seeing is that like young people are leaving the Democratic Party in droves. We've seen Joe Biden's approval rating with people under 30 like catapult like 10 or like 20 to 30 points. And there is so much on the line. When we talk about climate change, that we've got, 7 years with it to solve this. We're staring down a DeSantis or a Trump presidency in 2024. Like we don't have time for young people to sit around and wait their turn. Like Danny wants to talk about people paying their dues. No, like people should be allowed to participate in the democratic process, and we should respect the electorate and stop condescending them. We should respect voters in Baltimore County to make the choices for them that they think are in their best interest. And as Democrats, I think a lot of people in the Democratic establishment, especially in the Central Committee, there's this inflated sense of self, this like ego that's going on. But it's not about that. It's about doing the work. It's about the service. It's about like creating a community that's going to be compassionate and is going to take care of everybody, and making sure that the Democratic Party stands for working people and really stands for things. So there are a lot of young people that are coming in 2026. I expect a lot more young people to run for office in Baltimore County. We just got the charter changed. 88% of people voted in favor of question A, which changes the age requirement to 21 from 25. Well, I see a question here. What can we do to motivate young voters to come out and vote? We can have young people on the ballot. We can have young people that they identify with, that like share their experience as young people coming up in this really challenging time in American history. And we're gonna shake things up, and we're gonna challenge the dysfunctional status quo, because things need to change. We need to be registering voters. We need to be out knocking doors. The Central Committee is spending all of its time, going out to wave signs for Wes Moore, who is going to win no matter what. And we're not doing anything to challenge Republicans.
That wasn't always clear, because we saw what Donald Trump did And so, like, you are highlighting some of the challenges with the status quo on Liberty Road. I'm wondering how come Donald Trump isn't locked up in a black site off base somewhere.
The rules just don't
And
apply to some people.
people tell me it's because of white privilege.
Oh yeah. Well, without
How
question.
do we balance 400, 500, 300 years of one group getting everything and another group not getting anything? There are people still bitter behind that, Danny. I mean, when you look at everything from the Homestead Act to the Obama bailout, it tends to benefit rich white people. The poor white people, I'm becoming increasingly familiar with that because I live in Baltimore City and we see a lot of them here buying dope in our neighborhoods. The squeegee kids are on the news every day, but what we see in the communities is an inundation of white addicts in the community. But they're never talked about on the news and therefore might never appear to be a problem.
And in Maryland, I mean, like Maryland is the
Trump. What should happen to Trump?
well, Trump should be locked up. I mean, like that guy has violated. I mean, so many laws. I mean, like fraudulent. I mean, he's trying to steal the election. I don't even know where to start. You know, like Trump should be locked up.
He caused people to storm the Capitol.
No, he's a fascist, and like that's what we're staring down. Like we need to take seriously that prospect that's coming in America, and like we need to be out organizing and making sure that we're putting up a fight, because that element of American politics is not going away; it's growing.
And they've got guns.
And they've got the guns, yes. And they like you look at like the police force. You know, we've got a far right element there. Like we just saw Chief Hyatt get pushed out by the far right elements of the Fraternal Order of Police.
In Baltimore County. The Baltimore County police chief is gone.
Yeah.
And we have another guest on deck. If you'd like to come back, let's schedule you.
I would love to.
As a matter of fact, Ian, I'm going to propose it to you right here. If you'd like a show on this network, you just let us know.
Oh, I appreciate that. I thank you so much for
You're not the only white guy on this network, man. You won't be alone. But your voice is important and we need to hear it.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm excited to come back. And there's a lot to talk about. And there's going to be I think there's going to be a lot going down in the Central Committee in the next 4 years. So.
Okay. Well, this is from one of your fans. Thank you, Ian. And you let me know what's next. Okay.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Donnie. Have a great day.
Yes, sir. And this next gentleman is no stranger to this network. He was on last Friday and he's coming back for, what do you call this? An encore presentation featuring Quest. There he is.
Encore, huh?
Did you get any feedback from last week?
I did. I appreciate it.
Did anybody see it?
A lot of people saw it. Oh,
Get out.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Now, I need you to do something for me, man. I need you to tell me about them glasses, man. You always coming with the fly gear. I'll be checking with you. Hey,
you do?
I first met you out there, you ain't even telling about the Rick James thing. We ain't even get into the Rick James.
No, we will though. We will. Nah, yeah, man. These glasses. I'm all about fashion and fashion, glasses, everything. So that's me.
Okay, gonna call you Hollywood. Hollywood.
Hey, it's all love.
What's the word, Quest? What's the word for the day?
Man, the word for the day is that I'm just trying to get these females, man, on point. As far as the single moms, having them come and get life coach therapy so they could heal and have a great relationship. Because I see a lot of females with their sons, and man, it is terrible. It is terrible.
They're treating the son like that's their husband, their boyfriend, their man.
Yes, because Here's the deal. Here's the deal.
Oh boy, Quest, I better make sure my door's locked. Got my German Shepherd there. Do I gotta get my spear from Tanzania? I don't want nobody knocking on my door.
Nah, you good. You good.
Right. I ain't scared, but be careful, Quest.
I know. I got you.
The
No, I mean,
do they want to hear the truth?
See, here's the deal. A lot of them be like, I want a real man, right?
A real man gonna tell you no sometimes.
Right. But they don't really want to hear the reality. See, they want a real man, but they don't want to hear the reality of what a man had to say, right? Now, again, it's not all ladies, right? It's not all ladies. It's just some, right? And
here they go.
Hey, I know, right. But here's the deal with that. A lot of females who raise single sons, right? See, here's the deal. They're like their son and their boyfriend, right? I said this before, and I said this to a lot of clients, because the female don't have a guy, right? So she treat him like the boyfriend. And then what happens is that, man, this kid cannot, it's like he has a hard time in a relationship because, for one, she's a single mom, right? Dad is not in the picture. And when dad is not in the picture, man, that dude is going to be jacked up, because you got to understand, she's broken.
It's hard to be a man if you don't see a man.
Exactly, right? So the thing is, she's broken, he's broken. Hey, there's no healing being done. It's no therapy being done, right?
Are they automatically broken? Or the very fact that there's not a man to complete that nuclear family because there's a man missing? Or even the vice versa. It could be a man raising a child with a mother missing. It's still not mother and father.
Not mother and father in the same house.
In the same house.
In the same house. Yeah, in the same house.
Bound by the Holy Spirit.
Right. Because a lot of these kids take on their mother traits, right? Take on femininity traits, right? And then they come out here in the world and be like, you know what? I can't find a girlfriend. Or their girlfriend just be like, you know what? You want to argue too much. And again, guys don't argue. Guys don't argue. We ain't designed to argue. It's not in our DNA to argue.
It's not to our benefit to argue either.
Nah, it's not. It's not. But
and we don't do well in that area.
We don't. That's because as a kid, we was always told to hold our feelings, don't cry, don't show none of that. So as a kid,
I think also we weren't taught how to get along with little girls. We're taught that girls are purely an object of sexual objectivity.
Yes.
Many of us, you got 60-year-old men who still look at a woman as a piece of sex.
Right.
And have never grown up. And they out here as somebody's great-grandfather.
Exactly. Never grown up.
As immature as a kindergartner.
Yes. Never grown up.
It's some brothers too.
Oh, it is. It is. Never grown. And this is a prime example of what I'm talking about. 60-year-old men.
They're quiet now. They're real quiet now.
Yeah. Never grew up. Never had therapy. Never had life coaching. But yet they are so jacked up. Right. Again. I feel like it's just my job to help people because where I came from, right? Because I was the same thing. My mom and dad was in the same house, but my dad was always working.
I'm going to get some coffee. Keep talking.
Yeah. And so it just felt like my mom was there by herself, right? And this is what I tell my clients and everything. When you have a parent who's there by herself, it just seems like everything is coming down on her. Everything, right? Because I always hear like, oh, I had to be the man and the woman. No, you don't have to be the man. You don't. So stop telling your kids the same thing like, oh, I got to be the father. No, you just be you and be that disciplined mom. That's all you have to do. That's it. Because once you start saying, I got to take on, the mom and dad, then you're talking about masculinity.
When Father's Day come around, you know what happened.
And it's weird, right? It's weird
Father's
because
Day come around, Father's Day, Mother's Day, we gave everything.
right,
We paid
right,
everything.
right.
Mother had to do nothing before she even got out the bed. Pancakes,
Right.
new bathrobe, gifts, pie. Father's Day, invariably somebody
Right.
is paid.
Father's
Happy
Day,
Father's Day to all the mothers. You ain't no damn father.
Father's Day, nah.
Stop
nah.
that bull crap.
Yep, Father's Day, nah. You might get an apple. You
The
know,
Bible says, because we got a lot of Christians in our community, right? They read the Bible.
I got you.
It says, honor who? Honor thy father and thy mother.
Right.
America has taken even something, and we know Christianity has been gone through the Clorox and everything. Jesus used to be black around 325 AD. Jesus changed complexions all of a sudden. In the
Yeah.
hottest part of the world,
Right.
now Jesus ain't black no more. But all that's so you can't change the truth.
Yeah, you can't change the
Truth is
truth.
to take a man and a woman to make this child, and take a man and a woman to raise this child. And
Raise
it's
this child.
best when
Right.
they get along
Right.
under the same roof. Because two parents, you would agree, who are fighting every day, that's
Right.
not a healthy environment for a child.
It's not, because that kid is going to be delusional, right? See, here's the deal. When you got a mom and a dad who's both broken, that kid is going to be broken. All right? You got a mom and dad who's broken. That kid is going to be broken regardless. Regardless.
What is broken?
Broken. I mean, it can be fixed. It can be fixed.
What is broken?
Brokenness is I'll say brokenness. It's just when you got so much, when a parent has so much animosity towards each other, right? It's a feud.
I pray for my son's mother, my daughter's mother. That's the only way I will ever get peace, is praying for their well-being.
Right.
Nothing else will work. Nothing but the Holy Spirit is going to work in that for me.
Yeah, okay.
Because some people just don't like you.
Right.
They hurt by the past, and that's it.
Yeah, but they still got to get healing, though. That's the whole point, though, because you got a lot of parents and stuff who hasn't had healing, right?
Their healing, I got to work on my healing. And
Right.
get out
See,
the way of their healing.
I tell people, too, man, do not hide behind spirituality. All right? Don't hide behind spirituality. Right? Because everybody, oh, God's going to fix me.
Oh,
and
no.
I'd be like, man, listen, it's been 20 years that you still act the same way. So what is God doing?
Well, if God is in you, we supposed to be changing all the time.
Exactly.
If I'm a spiritually conscious and you point out like Doni, you know you keep doing this right here, I got to look at that and stop that. I got to check that and put that right on the table.
Exactly. But people don't do that.
That goes back to your therapy.
Exactly. Right. And that's the whole point. Back then, parents ain't have therapy because it was like, I don't need therapy.
And they ain't take the dog to the vet either.
Yeah, right. We didn't. Right? Yeah, we didn't.
Stayed outside all winter.
All winter. All winter. Cold everything.
That's what we knew.
That's what we was taught, because they were taught the same thing. Right?
You know what the vet was? The vet was, we want to take the dog for a ride.
Right. Plus back then, man, then the vet was like money. You take a pet in, that's $500 easy.
They got your house by the morning.
Exactly. So I just to try to enlighten everybody, man, as far as like even my scenarios and stuff is where I came from, just for me to heal, right? Because I had issues with my mom and dad. Bruh, I had issues with both of them. And I said, Mom, listen, I got to sit you down because you affected my personality. Because I couldn't speak, I couldn't express myself, you affected my personality. And my dad was just chill. He was like a country dude, right? He was just chilling. So he let her actually take the lead. Again, he gave her more power. And you know,
you ain't no little dude. I done met you in person. Describe your dad. Your dad was a big dude, or was he, little? Because sometimes those short men,
no, he's six.
big
No,
old
he's six.
amongst the sun.
He's 6'2", but the fact is his mannerism. I mean, he's just a laid back, chill dude, right? He don't want to argue, none of that kind of stuff. My mom is more of a like, I said, Mom, listen, you a narcissist, right? You a narcissist. And I had to break it down to her. And she said, you know what? I could agree because I am selfish, everything. And however you see me as far as that, okay, I would accept that. And she did. But my dad would never tell her this. I had to tell her, say, Mom, listen, you can't keep doing this, right? You can't keep doing this.
Was that difficult?
It was.
For you?
For me, it was difficult because as a kid, I wasn't shown love, right? My mom never told me I love you. My mom never told me I was a handsome kid. So I never thought I was handsome, right?
I disagree.
Disagree what?
That they didn't show you love.
They did. My mom and dad never told me they love me.
Okay, that's different.
Now, buying clothes and everything like that. Okay, fine, be it, right?
Were you ever hungry?
No. But the verbiage, I love you, all kids need that. All kids need that, right?
All kids not gonna get that. All kids not gonna get hugged.
All kids should though. Because if you don't,
I know, I agree.
That kid's gonna be jacked up emotionally. And then they grow into men. And then they take that into a relationship. And then next thing you know, say, hey, you know what? My man doesn't love me. I had a client that couldn't love his girl. Could not love his girlfriend. And I said, you know what the problem is? You don't love your mother. And he said, you're right. Me and my mother had arguments and feuds. She was hard to get along with. When I spoke to his mother, I broke her down the same way I broke my mother down. I had to explain everything to her. And when she understood that, and he was there too, he was like, man, no one has ever spoke to my mother like this. And I said, but that's a problem, right?
The truth will set you free.
Right. That's a problem. It's like, man, no, everybody should just speak their mind and just be real, right? Everybody talk about, oh, I want a guy who's real. Okay, cool. And so then when you start talking reality, because everybody said, oh, Quest, you're kind of rude. No. How you going to take rudeness for reality? Right? See, the reality is that you never had training, never had therapy, never had life coach. Right? So you broken from the core. So here I come in, I got to start you all over from the core. Right? And when I did that to her, man, she just really, I could see her bloom right there on my sofa, just blooming.
Tell me about them church people, man, because church people got a way. Yeah, I'm talking about you. I love the Lord. I love a good sermon. I love a good choir.
Right. Exactly.
I'm not in love with a preacher that calling the damn usher to take an offering every 6 minutes. I was in a church once. Yeah, I'm talking about it. I'm getting it off my plate.
Hey, do it.
I was in a church. It was a little small church. And they said, all right, before we get started, we're going to take up an offering. They ain't even played no music yet. Okay. And then they counted the money.
Right.
And then they said, we need y'all to come back around again.
I've been there.
Then you get up in the church and then somebody, the usher, a lot of them ushers need Jesus. They forget that the church is a triage unit for people needing spiritual healing. So we don't need no ushers at the door talking about you can't come in here. You gotta go. Some of them ushers come. You gotta go in that door. You can't sit there. You don't know what that person did in order just to get in that triage, and then you chasing them. Ain't nothing worse than a Christian that chase somebody back to the streets.
Exactly.
Ain't nothing worse than them. I said my piece. Church
Exactly.
people, I don't play with church people because
Right.
they're so quick to judge.
I feel like a lot of church people are hypocrites.
So quick to judge. And won't
So
he give you
listen,
a ride up the damn hill? I don't play with them church people.
so quick to judge, right? So quick to judge.
Sit
I
beside
know.
you for 2 hours, and then you get outside, you go walking home, and they ride right up past you and wave. Don't wave at me. You know I'm going up that same damn hill.
Exactly. Hey, I've been there with you as well.
You phony. You ain't no Christian.
I walk that same path. It's like, wow.
I tell you who I do respect, them Jehovah's. Them Jehovah's, they are serious. I want my business to be I want employees as serious as them Jehovah Witnesses. Rain, hail, sleet, snow, they knocking. They knocking on it, and they got their gear on, always looking professional.
Right,
I
they knocking.
Jehovah Witnesses. I really do.
Yeah, they knocking. Now, but
yeah, they need to get some black characters in their little publication, because I told you Jesus was a black man, and so I got my grandma's Bible, and I opened it up, and it was a white Jesus in there. I almost fell out.
Wow!
Oh my God. Can you imagine if somebody catches when I die? They gonna open up this. I gotta get rid of this picture.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because he's definitely black. You know, Hollywood changed that. You know, it had him blonde with blue eyes, and it's like, nah.
Moses, Moses was black.
Right. All of them. Trust me. You know, again, America's changed so much as far as our history, the Bible, everything. You know, so hey,
what is consistent? What is the same?
As far as what?
The world. I mean, we live in a day and time where the normal is now abnormal, and the abnormal is now normal. And if you dare say that ain't normal, then you got all of these groups calling you a hater.
Well, that's how it is now, because the world has changed as far as social media changed.
The Bible don't mean the Bible no more.
Social media changed that. Social media changed. You take out social media, everybody will go back to normalcy. A lot of people will be sick. You know why? Because they get so much attention off of social media.
Here's a shout out to the ladies that put the same damn picture out there every time with the same damn pose.
Hey, I agree. Yeah.
The same picture every day. So your whole wardrobe, save something for yourself. Have some class. Save something.
That's what I say. Have some class. I
was talking to a comedian yesterday about social media etiquette.
Right. Oh, that had to be a conversation.
Yeah, dude kept tagging me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's gonna happen a couple of times, and I'm gonna get you off the list. Don't be tagging me every 5 damn minutes.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
don't wear your welcome out. He said nobody ever taught me that. I said, your daddy never taught you not to wear your welcome out?
Nah.
Or I'm just finding out who Quest Delaney is. Hey, Quest, I was wondering, can you hook me up? You don't even know me.
Right.
I haven't even told you my name. Quest, can you? I get it all the time. Donnie do this, Donnie do that. From people who wouldn't help Jesus.
Right.
But the first thing out their mouth is, can you give me?
Right. Yeah. What can you give me? Right. The first thing I say is, brother, hey, I can help you heal. Oh, I don't need healing, dog. I'm going to ask you 10 questions, 5 questions. I bet you need healing.
Come on with them.
Hey, that's it. I mean, the first thing is the first thing was your mom and dad together, right? Was your grandmother and your grandfather together?
Uh-oh.
Right?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Did you see any arguments, right? Any kind of domestics in your mom and dad relationship, right? What's that, 4, right?
That's 3. But I can tell you, I was about 40 years old when it really hit me that most of the males, most of the young men in my neighborhood did not have fathers in the household.
Yeah.
Not their fathers. Might be the next was stepdaddy, boyfriend, but their daddy.
Right.
And I realized a blessing that I had.
Yes.
That my daddy was in the house all my life.
Yeah. It's
And
very,
then
it's
it
very,
helped me
it's,
to realize people
yeah.
who never had no daddy.
Yeah,
And
it's very important. Yeah, it's very important. I have a lot of clients who dads never was in the house. Never was in the house. And some of the females is like, well, his dad was in the picture. I said, no, it's not the same. It's not the same because that kid is not really getting disciplined how he should from a male figure, right? A male figure. And, you know, again, I mean, he's going to have issues. He's going to have issues, you know? And then they don't know how to express themselves, man. You know, they don't know how to express themselves. And I'm like, man, listen, just speak your mind.
Well, what about the women? When I was a kid, if you called a girl a B, 3 o'clock bell ring, you're gonna be fighting.
Yes.
Now, I saw this gorgeous black woman. And she had on her page, I'm that B.
Yep. Yep.
Now, hold up. 1980, you gonna go get your brother and your father to punch me in my face because I lost my cool and called you a B.
Yep, exactly.
But now you saying I'm that B.
Yep, I'm that B.
And your daughter is watching you. Your
And guess
daughter is watching that scandalous thing that you put on. What are we teaching our daughters? So we telling pretty much our daughters to go out there and get on the pole. As long as you bring back them duckers, we don't really care how you get it.
That's it. It's all about money. See, these things out
strippers now. Right.
Exactly.
We're gonna say a stripper is a queen like Coretta Scott King, right?
That's what they're gonna call themselves. Well, I'm a queen. Nah, you ain't no queen.
No, you ain't.
You ain't no queen showing your breasts. You ain't no queen showing your breasts, your cleavage. You ain't no queen showing your ass on social media. As soon as I see a lady and she has a camera and she turns around and show her ass, nope, you ain't a queen. You ain't a queen, right?
And then if you say something about her butt,
right.
I get tired of men always doing that, but that's what you are advertising.
That's all you advertising.
Who was it? Cat Williams? Was it Cat Williams say, you, one of the comedians, you keep talking, might have been Cat Mark, you keep talking about I'm trying not to cuss today. The women said he ain't S-H-I-T.
Right.
He said, well, maybe you got some ain't S-H-I-T things that you keep attracting. You keep attracting that, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's you.
Right, exactly.
That you keep attracting the same type of.
If that's all the if that's all the vibes that you're seeking as far as sexuality, that's all you represent as sexuality as far as cleavage, you know, ass showing, whatever. And that's, I mean, it's sickening. It's sickening at this point. It's sickening because I understand. Listen, I understand ladies getting enhancements and everything. Okay, fine, be it, right? But damn, you don't got to be on social media showing it, and then don't have an OnlyFans page because now you're talking about some whole itis type of thing. You know, oh, I got a OnlyFans.
Your whole body for 6 likes.
Yeah. Hey.
You put your whole naked body out there for 6 likes. Sympathy likes.
It's all for attention.
Somebody, you did all of that, and what was the return on your investment?
Exactly. Seeking attention. You know, because a lot of these females, man, don't have dads in their life.
Ooh, would you date a woman who didn't have a daddy in her life?
I would. Hopefully.
Mr. Avon Bellamy, he's been on this show. He taught me many years ago that you have to look at the woman.
Right.
Was she raised by a daddy?
Right.
And where I am today, with all due respect, That's one of my first questions. Where your daddy at? Do you like your daddy? Because if you don't like your daddy, I don't think you can like me.
Exactly.
I could be wrong.
No. That's right. That's right. Because I wouldn't date him. I wouldn't date him because it's going to be so much. It's going to be so much arguments involved, and it's like, no, I'm not going through that. I'm not going through that. You know, once you go through healing, man, you don't want to. Nothing should come.
Peace.
Say again.
After healing, you want peace.
Well, peace comes after healing. So my whole thing is that
you like that. You
right.
like that peace.
If I'm walking in peace, I don't want no disturbance on my vibration. Right? And that's the whole point. It's like, no. You know what? You should have got some therapy or some life coaching, and you should have learned from that. Because another thing, a lot of ladies are taking therapy just to say they took therapy. Right? But haven't changed, haven't improved, haven't changed their mindset, right? At all.
Going to NA and they just bought a kilo.
Wow.
What's the phone number? How do you want people to get in touch with you, Quest? We got to get up out of here.
My phone number, 301.
You sure you're ready for this? 301.
No. I'm not ready for that.
All right. Give me your email address.
They can contact me at Touch by Quest. Touch by Quest on IG, Facebook, Touch by Quest.
Yeah, this Friday. I want you to keep a peaceful weekend. I've learned that even men, we have to create boundaries.
Right. Oh, we do.
We're service providers,
right?
Because people will come across the boundaries for their own thing. They don't care that it's 10 o'clock at night, that it's 8 o'clock in the morning.
I know. That's right. Business hours. Business hours. Right. Business hours.
How about this, Quest? Treat people like you want to be treated.
That's me. I treat people how I want to be treated. So it's like, okay, you know what? And I tell people the truth. All right. Reality check. Everybody need a reality check. Right?
Can we get you back next Friday, 10:30? 9:30?
I'll be here Friday.
Good deal. Thank you, big brother.
My man.
Good morning, world. We out of here.
We out.
Heal. Heal.
Exactly.